Yep. I guess most of you guys were on the conference last night, so there's not a lot to say that hadn't been said. SEC championship game, awesome opportunity for our guys. I told them last night, you earned the opportunity to play in this game. This was not given. This was earned. This was not picked by a committee. It was on the field, and two teams that already played once. Both played really daunting SEC schedules, and get a chance to battle it out and see who the SEC champion is, which a lot at stake and always is. But playing a really good football team. Coach DeBoer's done a great job with them playing at a high level. When you look at both sides of the ball, they complement each other, playing really well offensively and defensively. I think that's important to being successful in our conference. And they've got a good group of players, and their staff's done a great job to put them in this position. So this will be our guys' opportunity to go out and play in a place that we've played a lot of games in, and I'm excited for the opportunity. It's always a great atmosphere and crowd, and then the viewership, the people that watch it across the country is always really high. So I'm excited for our guys.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sure you've had an opportunity to go a full deep dive on this offense from Alabama. How have they developed and changed since you guys played them last?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a deep dive. I got to watch the games in between our game and theirs. I don't think you change a whole lot during the year. You play to the skill set of your playmakers. They've got playmakers. They play to the skill set of those guys. Ty's still playing really well. He's extremely athletic. He can extend plays. He knows where to go with the ball. He knows defenses. He's played a lot of football, and he's played with a lot of confidence. So I don't think there's a lot of change. I mean, they're really good at what they do, and they do a great job with shift, motion, keeping you off balance with tempo, vertical plays, horizontal plays. They do a great job.
What you were talking about the progression of Gunner yesterday in terms of how the team's changed, in terms of the identity. Is the offense right now pretty much what you thought it would be? In the spring you said you'd have to run the ball, or have you guys been able to do some different things or evolve a little bit?
I'm not sure your question. Is our offense what I think it would be? Yeah, I'm very pleased with what our offense has done this year. I'm very pleased with the total package of how they utilize the skill set and the strengths of the team. Considering 2 to 3 freshman linemen have been in there a lot, I've been really pleased with that group. The ability and the commitment to the run complements what Gunner does well, and pleased with where those guys have been.
You talked last night about how valuable experience was for the guys on defense. How much do you feel like that applies to your defensive line and just the growth you've seen? How valuable the experience has been?
I would say it's more, the experience has been bigger for young linebackers, outside linebackers, and secondary, maybe the defensive line. I mean, outside of EG, a lot of those guys have played football. And EG is a guy that's gotten better with time and gotten more comfortable. But a lot of those guys were experienced coming into the year. And I don't think any of our early struggles were a testament to anything about the defensive line. It was just more a matter of growth and getting more experience and executing at a higher level at all positions.
Yeah, sticking with the defense, how have you seen Glenn Schumann as a coach develop and grow over the course of this season?
Honestly, I don't think. I mean, he's grown over the course of his career, and he's grown over the course of 10 years being here. But specifically this year, I don't think he's had to grow. I think he's had to do a great job of deciding what this group does best, and trying to utilize and improve the skill sets. We don't have a dynamic, clear-cut, dominant rusher. We've had some of those in the past. With Jalen and Michael both coming out early, and Ty, those guys not being there, it was a little bit of an adjustment to get the younger players groomed faster. But I can't say that Schumann's had to grow. He's had to utilize what we have.
Yeah, to kind of follow up on that, you answered it a little bit, but you said the other night the coaches have figured out who we are on defense, utilizing those skill sets. What is the process like that, and the process of doing that, and how much of it is just you've got to see what it looks like in the game before making some of those changes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of changes to make, guys. I mean, I think y'all are making a bigger deal about something that, I mean, we're improving. We've played better, but, you know, some of the offenses we played have been really explosive. I mean, Ole Miss is a really explosive offense. Tennessee is a high octane offense, and they get a lot of snaps. They go with tempo. They score points. Alabama's done that. So some of it is how you play. Some of it's who you play. And some of it's how you change and adapt. And I think we're always trying to change and adapt.
Kirby Smart is coming up Wednesday. Are there any advantages to it being the week of the SEC championship game? Any disadvantages? How are you going to handle the scheduling, and would you like to see the date changed?
Yeah, I mean, change to win. Win's a good time to have it. Last week, the next week, I mean, there's no, you know, they made the decision a long time ago to move this in front of your roster changes and additions to your own team, so that you would have one thing squared away. You got to remember, as little as 2 to 3 years ago, we had portal going on and signing day going on. So, I mean, I was in the decision-making process when it went to signing on the week of the SEC championship. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now, but I don't have a better answer. There's a calendar timeline. There's an academic calendar to universities and also high school kids. There's not an opportune time to have it. And so you do what's best for the most and not necessarily the least of the teams that are playing. It makes for some tough challenges this week for sure, but people understand that. They respect teams that are still playing.
Coach, obviously you've been in a lot of these championship type moments since you were a coordinator. Because how does experience going to a championship like atmosphere, championship like football game, how's that impacted preparation? How much have you kind of learned over the years about, you know, how many random things that can decide these games that you have to prepare for? How has that kind of shaped your process?
Yeah, it doesn't change game to game. I mean, championship game is no different than the game that gets you to the championship game, right? We've been playing championship games every week, in my opinion. So, you know, what wins football games doesn't change. You know, good players win football games. Not turning the ball over wins football games. Being explosive wins football games, and that will not change in this game. I mean, the turnover margin of the last game was a factor. Explosive plays of the last game was a factor. There'll be factors in this one. There'll be factors in the next one after this one. So that doesn't change, and I don't, you know, if anything, the experience you learn from playing in this are more about, you know, time management with signing date going on, practice management with the load your players got, you know, this extra week in the season. That's what we try to lean on from an experience standpoint.
Coach, touch on it briefly, but back to the identity part of things. You've been vocal about running the ball and how that's going to be like part of the winning culture here. How, if that identity has changed over the course of the season, how would you say it has, so to speak?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the identity has changed for us of needing to be able to run the ball to be successful. That can change, not for us.
We're just more so wondering, like, on a week-to-week basis, would you say like the team has like a broader identity, or is it more so like focused in on what it was at the beginning of the season?
No, the things that are important to our identity, the physical toughness required, the discipline, all the things that we require to be successful have not changed week to week or since the beginning of the season. We might do better at them one week or the other, but they don't change.
Kirby, you're preparing for this game, but meanwhile, coaching changes all around the SEC, and you're now the dean of SEC coaches. What do you make of that?
Got a great program, great administration, great supporting cast here, and it's allowed us to be successful. I mean, I talk about it all the time. If you have good players, you coach them the right way, coach them hard, you can be successful, and we've been successful. It's hard to sustain anything and stay consistent, and especially in this league where it's really competitive. And I don't think a lot about the tenure or the person that's been there the longest. I got a lot of respect for Mark, and he's a good friend.
On a similar note, you mentioned consistency a lot. What are some things that you've done to instill in this program that allow you guys to be that consistently excellent?
Things like Jonas Jennings being part of our staff since I've been here, Scott Sinclair, Glenn Schumann, Trey Scott. They're pillars in this building. They believe in the core values of the head coach. They help push those. I think reinventing yourself as much as you can every year and trying to be a good teacher creates consistency. I think the player buy-in and the players we select to be part of our program, that's the only way you're going to be consistent is you know, not be afraid to make tough decisions. And we've talked about, you know, qualities of great leaders require you to make tough decisions.
I would think that Drew has helped Gunnar be comfortable back there, helping him out with his experience. But how much has Drew really helped those freshmen, true freshmen, be able to play this year? And what comfort does he bring to those guys?
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable of the game. He grew up around it, in it. He understands football. He knows leverages. He knows a lot about what's going on. You know, he and his dad have a great relationship that allows him to know a lot of things and make a lot of checks and put us in the right situations a lot of times. So he's certainly a really good football player.
Kirby, there's obviously, you've coached in a lot of rematch games from the regular season, and is there how much of the gap between games matters? I mean, there's been some that, you know, like 2021 Alabama was a month later, and 2017 Auburn was like 3 weeks later, Texas was a little further. Does the gap matter in terms of the dynamics of a rematch?
No, I mean, unless you just beat up and got a lot of players missing, which they're pretty beat up. We're pretty beat up. The gauntlet of the stretch that they played and we've played has, you know, impacted both of our seasons. I think you know, we both had people coming in or coming out of lineups the last time we played, and now you look at the long spell between games, 7, 6, 7, 8 games, whatever it is. It's both teams are coming out of and coming into injuries. But in terms of the X's and O's and the schemes, in terms of the gap, I don't think so. I mean, you evolve as a team, you have trends, but good teams do what they do. There's not going to be a lot of change, and both these teams are good teams.
Yeah, where have you seen Gabe and Quintavious just progress the most throughout the year, especially looking back on that first matchup with Alabama since then?
Confidence in repetition, and I think they both are very knowledgeable, a little more experienced, a lot of practice reps between that game and this one, quite a bit of game reps between this one and that one. I mean, Gabe's a little older. Q, you know, was still kind of coming into his own. He was young then, and he's grown up a lot. He's had to grow up because he got forced into playing time at an early age last year and even this year, and he's accepted that role and he's improved.
Coach, obviously a lot of shifting landscape in the SEC. I guess kind of two-part question. One, what did you think about Lane's decision to go to LSU? And two, when there's this many new coaches, is that going to make for a lot of? I mean, there's a lot of off-season work anyway, but does it add even more now that there's going to be so many different faces and new schemes, X's and O's coming in the league?
I mean, I think most of these guys are descendants or they come from a tree of coaching, and there'll be similarities. I mean, we have tape of every team we play. We have tape of every team that those guys coached. So there'll be some carryover in terms of the new coaches, but it's, you know, it's a long way away before we start worrying about that.
About Lane?
I don't envy the position he was in. I think it's a really hard position to be in and to navigate. I think, you know, Coach Saban addressed it best. It's not we're in a time frame where ADs and people are making decisions in a timeline that's not congruent with the season and the playoffs. So it makes for really difficult decisions.
Drew Brandon helped you guys with some of these big game weeks. Do you think the history against Alabama something he may help with in terms of if there's, any mental hurdle or just external noise that will come up, during a week like this?
He's helped every Alabama game since 2020. He does a great job.
Time for one more question?
Coach, earlier in the season, you talked about how the quarterback is in the position to make the most decisions behind yourself and the offensive coordinator. How has Gunnar improved in that area over the course of the season?
Yeah, he's had to make them. Like you get more comfortable doing things the more you've done it. It's called experience, and he's gained that. So he's forced into every play. Do I do this, or this? There's very few plays that are just as simple as you do this. And I think that gives you options. It makes you write more. And I think more teams, and everybody in the country is really doing it. It's putting a lot on the quarterback. And he's done a great job in terms of making the right decision with 2-3 options. And that puts you in an advantage. It also puts stress on that position. And they got to be able to handle it and make good decisions.
Thank you, Coach.